Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to another episode of Honest Trailer Commentaries for Mission: Impossible - Dead Reckoning, no punctuation, Part 1. I'm here with Lon.
From the Book of Saw.
From the Book of Saw. Based on the novel Push by Sapphire. So we're going to talk about the film, the long-titled film in question. We're going to watch Honest Trailer together, stop and start.
It's no longer Part 1, though. We should amend this. It's
breaking news.
It's now just Dead Reckoning because they've said the next one is pushed to 2025, and it's going to have a brand new title. All of its own.
We'll predict that. Put that in the chat if you can think of what the next one should be.
Well, I mean, Dead Reckoning, like, usually the title you can immediately go back and be like, oh, that's what, like, they do say the phrase Dead Reckoning in this movie because that's how the sub navigates, but, like, that actually doesn't have anything to do with
Dead Reckoning is
this movie.
more of a Part 2 title because it doesn't seem like there's much sub in this one.
Yes,
they start in this.
Hey,
we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
We're also gonna do Q&A and deleted scenes and then tease with next week's Honest Trailer. Now we may talk about the sub.
This should have been the key, something key.
Yeah, keys to the
cross
sub.
key.
Keys
key
open
cross.
doors. Keys open doors.
Alex Cross. no. Get Tyler Perry to join this franchise as Alex Cross.
Hell yeah. This could use a little Perry Viagra. So yeah, I guess that this was a workman-like, solid entry to me in the Mission Impossible Mikołaj certainly quadrilogy at this point. It was good. Wasn't bad. Didn't blow me away like Rogue Nation or certain other ones have in the past.
To me, I think that like this is easily on a par. I think with 3 or Ghost Protocol. I think it's the 1-2 punch of Rogue Nation and Fallout. They're so good. Yeah. They're the best two.
Yeah. Well,
and I think
first
so.
one's my favorite.
But
if we're just talking Mikołaj, I agree.
I think after those two, this one does because it not only feels it's a little lighter on the stunts and the action, which has become sort of the signature thing, and it's a little. We mentioned this in the trailer. It's a little somber. It's a little downbeat. I think you want Ethan Hunt to be up against a very difficult to defeat foe.
Sure.
But you don't want him to be so completely helpless and on his heels the entire time like I think he is here.
There's that aspect of it. I mean, he's always on the run. He's always
on the run, but I think there's a little like he's like there's a plucky like we're gonna figure this out thing to Ethan Hunt. He's unstoppable. You know, he's
to me it felt a little hackneyed and a little just kind of like stuck out in a bad way of them trying to kind of retcon a personal life for Ethan Hunt of this mysterious girl and Gabriel and stuff like that, where to me, when I see that stuff, I go, I don't remember that from the previous. I must have missed that in one of these.
That was, no, you didn't. That's never been mentioned. But I will say 3 was like J.J. Abrams came in after 1 and 2 and was like, you know what? There's not enough personal stakes for Ethan Hunt. Let's give him like a wife and a personal life. So I feel like it's like, once every 3 or 4 movies, they're like, hey, hold on, hit the brakes. He can't just be running guy. We got to give this dude a soul, you know?
Yeah, so this was like before his wife. This was the college girlfriend that must have been killed. That we'll
obviously, like something they got her killed. And
I wish Philip Seymour Hoffman had been around to take her out instead of Isai Morales.
Yeah. Well, this was,
Wait, I just want to do the impression.
Oh, sorry.
It's gonna hurt real bad. I'm gonna
kill Rebecca Ferguson.
I'm gonna kill Elsa. It's gonna hurt.
I was gonna say I don't know if that made it in the trailer, but Nicholas Hoult was gonna be the bad guy in this before?
Yeah, you were telling me about that. It
must have been a totally different character because there's no way he works in
a figure from Ethan's past.
Yeah,
evil baby, no,
Mr. Hunt. Like that doesn't. He's like Syndrome in The Incredibles or something.
Yeah, Nick Hoult as I mean, he makes sense, Nick Hoult, as like a mouthpiece for an evil AI, but not one that also killed Ethan Hunt's college girlfriend.
It must have been a totally different take on that character. Yeah. Anyway,
all right.
All right.
Let's watch Mission: Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
I think you should do the whole commentary as Owen Davies.
In a world that's starting to get tired of long-running franchises, comes another installment of the long-running franchise that went from an exciting canvas for directors to make a spy movie
to the Cruise and Macquarie Action Stunt Spectacular. Step right up, folks, and witness the 9th wonder of the world. Tiny Tom Cruise, a legend in the world of cinematic acrobatics, will vault himself off this very cliff armed only with his motorcycle and a steadfast belief in his own abilities. Only $14 to see if he survives the journey over the Alps, onto the speeding train, and into the hearts of patriotic Americans everywhere.
Mission: Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
So, pause. I mean, where do you rank the motorcycle cliff jump on the Ethan Stuntacular ladder?
It's pretty high. It's really awesome. I do think the marketing sort of blunted it because they showed us that beat so many times. Yeah. They all the marketing for this whole film was like, he's gonna jump this motorcycle.
And the behind the scenes stories like, oh, he did it 17 times just to get it perfect.
Right. There was like that 15-minute featurette about it like a month before the movie opened, and I do think that like when you see it in the movie, you're kind of already prepared for it. Whereas when I saw like Ghost Protocol in IMAX and he climbs out the outside of that skyscraper, like there was no press and you didn't know that was coming exactly like that. So I it's hard to say objectively, but I think just purely as a sequence, as a stunt, it's great. It's really cool.
It was a good sequence. I think he's a victim of his own success because he does his own stunts.
Oh, I hadn't heard about
yeah,
this.
you might have heard this.
Wow.
But then it makes it really stand out when he's not doing his own stunts, when they either cut to a stuntman or CGI, and he's given me the expectation that, oh, Tom Cruise should really be leaping from a derailed train car falling off a cliff. That's not Tom Cruise.
Hang on.
Bullshit. Like, whereas I would totally give anyone a pass. That's not him. I noticed more so than in other franchises.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of once you've made it such a centerpiece. It would be like Jackie Chan using a stand-in. It's like, hang on. Like, once you've made it that much of a prominent part of your persona.
Yeah, I want to see this in the end credits of you getting seriously hurt trying this.
That's Cruise should start doing that. The Jackie Chan style.
Well, yeah. I mean, he could have last time. He, like, broke his leg.
Yeah, he's hurt himself before.
Yeah.
Or even just because Jackie Chan does. It's not always the ones where he hurts himself. Sometimes just he kind of messes up a little and laughs.
They usually.
There's always, like, one where he busts
Like,
an ankle. But, you know, sometimes it's just him messing up.
I would definitely be more apt to stick around in Marvel movie credits, but I don't know, what would it be, a green screen injury?
Then it would be the director laughing because they messed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, that floating head doesn't look good at all.
one of the overworked animators accidentally made the floating head too big.
Yeah, like,
oops,
whoops,
undo,
minimize. Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
Hunt is back. He's still going rogue.
Your habitual rogue behavior will not be tolerated.
Putting us on an unsanctioned mission which has gone rogue before it even started.
He always goes rogue.
Still masking up and still flexing the special skills section of his resume.
It's worthless.
El ambiente.
I'm trying to get away from this mountain!
This time, he's up against the Entity. Like ChatGPT, if it could do more than just plagiarize. This dark Siri can impersonate anybody.
Turn left. Turn right. Ethan, you're talking to the Entity.
Dox anyone. Throw a sweet rager.
You could even say that this party is that interested party.
And predict every outcome but one. What if Barbie and Oppenheimer released the
Before we talk about the Barbenheimer of it all, just the Entity as a villain concept, I think they made it too powerful and then failed to really use it. Like, the best it can do is kind of fake Benji's voice or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you could kill Ethan Hunt, 6 ways from Sunday. If you knew every single computer network, it could control every single thing in every vehicle and every door and every this and every that. Just like, all right, drop a girder on his head when he's sitting on a couch.
I don't know. I think if these were the only guys trying to do the AI villain thing, maybe it would feel more fresh. But I do think it kind of undermines the movie, just because not only is it like another AI threat thing when that's sort of everybody's bit now, but it doesn't really have a personality. Gabriel is the personality. And I don't really get it's clearly sentient.
Yeah.
Like, it's making it can impersonate humans.
Oh, it's having goofs and laughs.
Yeah,
and
right. So it's like
making little puzzle boxes.
Right, why not just go one step further and like have it have a real point of
make
view.
It Russell Crowe in virtuosity.
Make it Russell Crowe. It's Sid 6.7. Yeah, but like exactly. Like, I think you have to do something like that, because otherwise it really is just up against like the perfect villain, and it can like it's always one step ahead. And
it's
just
Skynet
kind of
Genesis, Terminator Genesis.
Well, right. I mean that one they did where they were like, what if Skynet was Matt Smith?
Was
and it's
an
like,
app.
well, no, this is a stupid idea, but theoretically giving it some kind of
That's why they had to be
personality.
like, oh, he knows Gabriel from his, I guess, like street urchin days or something like that.
Well, TBD. I mean, I think that's another problem with the movie generally is like, I don't mind a part one, but you got it has to be self-contained enough. And I think there was a lot of like, well, we'll explain the Entity's plan in part two. Like, well, we'll get into Ethan's backstory in part two. And it's like, I don't want to be teased for 3 years. That's too long. I want to be teased at the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie.
There you go.
I don't want to, like, a 3-year tease is like, well, now you're just messing with me.
I hope they keep Rob Delaney as a as like a joint chief of staff. Or
Just
something
one,
like
yeah, like one director.
He
of
can explain what the
intelligence,
entity does.
Some high-ranking intelligence official.
Well, he's taking a big dump. Check him out on Twitter. He's funny. All right, keep going. And Catastrophe. Good show.
Weak and nuke the box office so hard no one cares anymore.
Is this
Entity.
So it's like DJ software or something? I'll wait for part 2. Bow before Gabriel, a prestige version of the I'm a Mac, I'm a PC guys.
You've no idea the power I represent.
He's repping Team Entity, alongside this bag of quirks masquerading as a henchman. They're in a hunt against Hunt to locate a mysterious key, which is actually 2 keys
So anyone could have her half of the key.
that combine to form 1 key.
2 halves of the cruciform key.
A very
The key will be mine.
important
This key has gotta change the world.
key.
Whatever the completed key unlocks, I will find it. Help me complete the key.
Assuming we get the complete key at the party tonight.
the key to world domination is, of all things, a key.
In conclusion, key.
Key is only the beginning.
Pause. This franchise does this all the time. There's the rabbit's foot, the knock list.
You always
the chimera.
expect it, right?
That's a given.
At this point,
It's
you expect they all got a MacGuffin. They're always chasing, and that's the show. I mean, the show is the same way.
Yeah, this one went overboard, I think, on key talk.
Because he's delaying what the next bit till the next movie in sort of a non-graceful way, by just being like, well, this was just about the key that gets. It's the Star Wars bit. It's the same Star Wars trick. It's like we got to find the key that locates the rune that unlocks
Takes
the
the
map
map
that
to the
leads you to the
thing.
coordinates to get to the planet. It's like, I know what you're doing. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not that clever. You're just adding levels to the one plot before we get
And
there.
because the entity is so, underexplained / kept mysterious, you're left to wonder, well, how the thing is all powerful. How are you going to stop it with like this little metal?
Yeah, they got to
fail-safe?
somehow. They're gonna have to go down to that sub and like unlock it, and then change the core program. It is like, from a computer science perspective, it's like, well, if the entity's already spread out to computer networks all over the world, changing its base code where
It's
it
too late.
originated
It can copy and paste itself
wouldn't matter,
wherever,
right?
yeah.
Wouldn't it have already made backups of itself all over the world?
Nerd is what the movie has to say to you and us for asking these questions.
There was so much like, there's a lot of religious imagery throughout the entire movie, because there's like the cross key stuff, and they're in Rome the whole time, and then there's also just all this like the entity making all of these like deals with, like, it's like a devilish kind of
It's
presence.
omnipotent, yeah.
But it never really like that doesn't ever come together either. Like, it kind of doesn't complete the religious metaphor. It sort of gets 3/4 of the way there. And it's like, check out, come back in 2025.
Tom Cruise and repressed religious metaphors.
Well, he's
name
obvi-
a
I
more
mean,
iconic duo.
He's like a Jesus, figure,
well, he
obviously.
was. Oh, Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt?
Ethan Hunt, not Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, he's like a Xenu figure.
Yeah. He was Catholic during Top Gun, and things change.
Listen.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
So Faust returns as Ethan Hunt's badass situationship.
It's my first time in Venice.
Then there's newcomer Grace, who shares Ethan's affinity for close-up magic. What the fuck? And ability to play through a bad concussion.
It's okay.
Yeah, pause quick. They just made a big deal about her. She's a bad driver, but like, that woman is concussed. She just absolutely destroyed her face in that car accident, and then it's like, oh, she can't drive.
Yeah, she's also trying to drive with like a guy handcuffed on the
to her.
wrong
Yeah.
side. Like, there's a lot of
That was a good sequence. I like
There's
that.
a lot of obstacles. Yeah, I mean, I think that too, like Fast X and Mission Impossible both did almost the same sequence this summer, and this one is better.
Yeah.
I guess that really was ignorance. Like, each production didn't know the other one was going to do that.
I feel like that's on,
Rome?
Italy.
The mayor of Rome should have been like,
Miss Scusi. All right, keep going.
Atta girl, Grace. Shake it off. Back in the game. Ethan's handler, Kittredge, returns. Clearly still pissed that his suit smells like aquarium water.
It's my job to use you.
Agent Briggs is on his tail with one weird trick that works 0% of the time.
What did that say?
And of course, Benji and Luther return for a double dose of Guy at the computer yelling instructions.
Ethan, that is not me!
And Guy at the computer calmly giving instructions.
Nothing to worry about. It's under control.
Yes! I copy! Look, I'm just trying to help you!
With an algorithm on the loose, everyone will be plunged into a confusing world of lies.
Whoever controls the entity controls the truth.
Where no one can know what's real and what's misinformation.
You're playing 4-dimensional chess with an algorithm.
And every claim has to be second and
Thank
third
you, Ving.
guessed.
What if that's what the entity wants us to think?
That's like the high-stakes equivalent of only getting your news
Pause.
from the app
We got to give Luther something to do in the finale. Let's get Luther out of the
But
van.
no standing or moving. It's
Okay,
like
well,
we got to
yeah.
give Luther something seated and cozy to do because Ving doesn't move around a lot.
Some kind of hovercraft.
There's always the third act of like, Luther, you go hang out in that beanbag and hack into the satellite. We've got to go run up this mountain.
How amazing would it be though if Ving Rhames got the big stunt? It like
in the last
like,
one,
Ving, you got to hold your breath for 6 minutes and swim down to the sub.
It should be like it's Cruz, but he has to wear a Ving Rhames mask.
Sure,
So Ving
yeah.
Rhames has to do
Has
it,
to actually
but
do
it's
it.
Ethan in the movie. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, Ethan, you have to disguise yourself as Luther and stand up and jog 40 yards in that direction.
Because that is one of the fun things like actors sometimes get to do. Like the guy Henry Czerny gets to do it as Kittredge in this one when they get to play Tom Cruise for a second. Like he's got that like look when he's putting on the mask, like he does a little Cruise bit.
Yeah,
I'd like to see Ving Rhames' version.
As a big MI1 head, it was great to see him back.
Oh yeah, that was a great pull.
Yeah, and one of the all-time great just names to say. Kittredge in one of these movies. I love the way Tom puts the stank on Kittredge.
Yeah, no, it's that's like one of the great. I'd like to see Anthony Hopkins from 2 back as well.
Yeah.
I got to get back.
He's gone, and then no one's ever really dead. So Alec.
Well, a
could
lot.
come back.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of characters who could come back. Paula Patton, I think, obviously everybody's expected to come back at some point.
Yeah, just the charred corpse of Henry Cavill.
Sad.
Yeah,
sad for him.
All right, keep going.
No mustache.
Known as Twitter.
Nothing anyone says is true.
You better pull this one off, Ethan. The AI is coming for us. Even the actors.
Ah.
That whole row. It's not even just one of them. I don't actually know if that's AI.
Yeah, pause. That's more like Second Life.
I don't even think people were saying that's AI. I really think that's just very bad computer animation.
Crappy.
They were like, these bleachers look a little empty. Hey, you. Stay late tonight and put a row of students there. Pixar students.
Free template student premiere.
I don't
cracked copy.
Yeah, I think even Mid-Journey would be like, no, I'm out. No.
All right, keep going.
One stunt-first blockbuster that retcons the backstory with a driving chase scene along Rome's Spanish Steps. See this one over Fast X for sure.
Here we go!
Because, hey,
now
it
I'm
might be
changing my
one of the
mind.
more depressing installments. But Tom is only going to be able to do this one more time, okay?
What do you expect me to do? Well, just, jump.
Jump?
Trust me, you're going to miss him when he's gone. Like Shelley Miscavige.
Hey.
Story.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Just saying, hey.
No, don't stop here. They'll sue us.
Go. Quick.
Oh God. Very litigious group of people.
Starring Ethan Stunt. How have we not done that one already?
Yeah, really.
Adwell that ends well. Sean of the Fed. Mama Dune. No Morales. Gerard Slay. Eugene Kittredge.
Love
Chief
it.
Wiggum. And Black Hat. What? It's a hacking term. Jeez.
Yeah, look it up.
Don't be
Mission
racist.
Improbable. Stunt on these foes. You know, it's so fun that they brought back Kittredge. Now when is Emilio Estevez going to return to the franchise? Oh, right. His face.
Dang.
So good. I love the first one. God.
De Palma. I mean, it's a classic. It's a classic.
I mean, I like what they've become. I think we said this before, but I miss when it was when Tom Cruise was the paint and Mission Impossible was the canvas.
Yeah.
And a different director would grab the reins each time.
I think it's there's also something to be said for like when you confuse like the first one feels like a Mission Impossible adaptation, like spy movie, kind of meets a Tom Cruise movie in the middle. And it's like I rewatched the Blade movies recently because they're all on Max, and like that first I like Blade 2 a lot, but that first one is the only one that feels like a Wesley Snipes movie kind of fused with a comic book movie halfway, where there's still a lot of stuff that's just like you're watching a Wesley Snipes movie. It's just martial artsing of 5 guys, Wesley Snipes style. It could be Passenger 57. He just happens to be a vampire. And like I think that's what's missing now. Is like there's such Tom Cruise vehicles now.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's that kind of blend.
I think they found the alpha beta relationship in that one where it's just Tom and Chris, and they're just like he'll do whatever he says.
Yeah,
yeah. Whereas John Woo would be like, no. More doves.
Listen.
Grab another gun, release the doves.
Right.
Go, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're bringing in those kinds of directors, you got to give them a lot of like leeway. And I think this way, Tom Cruise, Chris McQuarrie, they've worked together so often. They've got this kind of shorthand now. They just kind of like know it's just this very easy working relationship.
They're just kind of coasting, like whoever the David Yates, right?
The Potter Fantastic Beast guy. Well, he did that new one, Pain Hustlers. That's this week on Netflix.
I think his like gray, miserable aesthetic could work for something like Pain Hustlers.
He's doing an opioid movie based on a true story that comes out. It's Friday on Netflix. Emily Blunt and Chris Evans stuff.
Sadly, that's perfect for the person who took over Harry Potter.
Yeah, but all the interviews about it, he's really coming out and saying like, I needed to get away from those goddamn British kids. Like this was seriously like me trying to go as far away from all of that as I possibly
strangely
could.
Not that far from the Fantastic Beasts movies to a opioid documentary or whatever. All right, so we also have some other videos. Like and subscribe and hit the bell if you haven't yet.
Are there outtakes? Did we do outtakes?
We'll do that in a second.
Oh,
we'll do that in a moment.
Look at me trying to take over the show. Not my place, folks.
What we get? It's right there in the thing. We got a lawyer reacting to telling you what Ethan Hunt is guilty of, murder, among other things. And then we also have on Screen Junkies at Comic-Con we grabbed 10 minutes with Robert Kirkman to watch the Invincible on his trailer.
It's kind of a big deal.
So he reacts instead of us schmucks talking about it. You get the guy who made it talking about it. And,
there you go.
He gave you some fun facts, some insight. The origin of the Canadianisms and all sorts of good stuff. So check that out on Screen
It's always fun when we do that. The only time I feel like the person we were showing the Honest trailer to did not get in on the vibe and did not enjoy it was Lance Henriksen.
Lance Henriksen, yes.
That was the only time.
Yeah.
Was not a fan of our humor.
Yeah.
Did not know why we were showing it to him.
Granted, he was in to, I believe, be interviewed by
Casper Van
Dien, and like they had a serious talk about the craft of acting.
It was an amazing. I wish those shows were still available because that interview. It was like an hour-long interview that Casper did with Lance Henriksen, covering like the whole span of his career, tons of cult movies. It was awesome.
And then he walked in, and it's like, look at this. All we did was we said that I think the ship on Alien looked like a men's room or something like that. Which it was intentional. It's supposed to look grimy, and he got very
offended.
That.
It's like, we're not saying aliens.
Not saying it looks
Obviously,
bad.
We all love Look around you. Look at all these beards. Obviously, we love Alien.
Look at all these beards.
Look at these
in space.
Look at these.
Yeah. All right. We
sorry
also
to distract.
Digression, but ask no more questions about the hidden episode that Lance Henriksen did not like.
Sorry.
Well, we'll find it. We'll dig it up somewhere.
Only on Screen Junkies
Plus. R.I.P. All right, let's watch the outtakes.
Ving Rhames' heart rate must stay below 60 BPM at all times. It's in his contract.
Well, you did say you'd do anything to help.
I love it.
Starring
I love it.
The Wild Hunt.
Got the meats.
Joanne the Scammer. Love interest number 9. The next one is free. Grace Under Fire. Rhames with Zing. Meat Haver. Top Done. Maverick. Let's go into hiding, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all of this to blow up. Server Servant. The Dell Gentleman. Hit Mantis. Palm Tormento. Smarter Alec. Briggs and Dunn. Steamed Wiggums. And it was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. You stupid monkey. The Missions versus the Machine. Terminator, Rise of the Machine.
It's a pretty good Monty
Sweet.
Burns.
Yeah, he does a good Burns.
Yeah. It's a good Burns.
All right. Sweet burns. Let's get into the questions. Bruins fan 1144. What do you think Tom Cruise's final stunt for cinema will be? I think I know what it is, but when I type the word in the message in chat, it's auto-deleted by censors. So what's he going to do exactly? He's going to do
it's
what?
Hunt. Ethan Hunt.
Oh, yeah, got it.
Come on. I feel like that Doug Liman space movie, if that ever happens, how do you go out on a higher note than
Can't
that?
Get higher than
Stunts
space.
in actual
Stunts
space.
in space. That'd be cool.
I feel like that's it. Like you've reached the pinnacle at that point.
Yeah. I mean, he might just have to like free dive down to a submarine in the next one. That's kind of exciting. But he already did the breath holding thing.
He did the breath holding thing. What is that? Ghost Protocol, I think.
Yeah.
Or Rogue Nation. Ghost Protocol, I think. Yeah.
What's left to do, Tom?
I mean, at this point, he's pushed himself to the furthest limits on this planet. That's why we got to send him into the cosmos.
But because they planned this part 1 and 2, that they had to save like, okay, that's a part 1 stunt, but part 2, this is the finale. We've got it.
That was. I remember like John Woo talking about Mission Impossible 2, and that was always sort of how they laid them out. Was like Cruise and the producers or whatever, the director would figure out like these are the 3 stunts. Now let's like draw a movie in between them, you know? And so I'm sure the plan was always built around which stunts go in which movie.
Fair enough. All right, James Bond asks, which never spoken of again female IMF agent do you want to return next time? Maggie Q or Paula Patton?
I mean, I think like both. Like, why not both?
Wasn't Tandy Newton in it too? She
was in 2.
Yeah.
But she was like the love interest. She wasn't like on. Like, he recruited her to help him, but she wasn't, like, on the IMF team.
You could do... I think we talked about... That was a joke in the last one of Rogue Nation or something like that, of, like, maybe the shadowy organization was made of all the people who just stopped showing up in Mission Impossible movies.
Yes. What were they? I forget what they were called. I don't know. The Rogue Nation.
The Rogue Nation.
The Syndicate.
The Syndicate. Thank you. It happened at the same time as Spectre. It was a big time for shadowy organizations.
A lot of shadowy organizations.
Yeah. All right, Maten Valensky. After we got tired with the old male action stars, will we try it with the women? Linda Hamilton was the only good part of Dark Fate. Old woman Xena, anyone? Old Ellen Ripley? Yeah, they're not getting the same shots, and which is like, you know, I hope they do. I would watch an old Ripley movie. I think that would suit.
Horror, I think we're doing a lot of that.
Oh, yeah.
We got the
Jamie
Laurie
Lee.
Strode
Yeah.
and Ellen Burstyn is back in Exorcist. No one saw it. You know, so I mean, that is sort of happening.
Yeah.
I personally, I love that they're still doing alien stuff. I'm like, Fede Alvarez's one is coming out, and I say great, but I don't. Let Sigourney Weaver live. She's done enough. I don't feel like there's that much more value to getting Ellen Ripley back again. Not a knock on Ellen Ripley, great character, but four Ellen Ripley adventures strikes me as
that's bad enough.
Good, and we even we took her through. She died. She came back. Like we've done it. It's been it. I don't know if there's a lot more mileage in like old Ellen Ripley,
or frankly, all these old male action stars too.
I mean, right. I think what Indy showed is because Indiana Jones the biggest maybe ever, and him coming back even wasn't that exciting for people.
Should there be a forced retirement age for actors? Like you can only you can't reprise no, because you still need somebody to play Grandpa.
Yeah, and I mean I love that when they get old and they find the right crotchety old version of themselves role. That's always very satisfying. I don't want to stop Paul Newman's from doing their Nobody's Fool, but I just feel like it's the going back and trying to recapture the glory days thing that I think wears thin, and it's fundamentally sad. Like when you see somebody you used to love and they're coming back and now they're old and they're putting the suit back on or whatever, it just makes you feel melancholy. Bill Murray in the Venkman suit doesn't make me giddy and nostalgic. It makes me bummed out now.
But an old, a flash forward Xena where she's like an old conquering warrior queen.
Sure.
Like they were going to do Old Man Conan or
do Queen Xena instead of King Conan. Sure. Yeah. I mean, Lucy Lawless is great and still vital and out there, and why not? You know?
I like that one. All right, and we'll end with this from Jack Shipley. Interesting point. Quick talk about how the opening of this movie establishes there's a submarine sitting at the bottom of the water, but the keys have somehow been recovered before the real movie started. Like, how did they find the keys or the floating bodies with the keys around their neck?
The bodies floated up under the water, and that's how they were able to find the key was around the neck of one of the guys right under the.
There you go, Jack. It was in the opening thing that I clearly wasn't watching closely.
Was he how did they geolocate those bodies?
I guess a big question of it was we need to find where the sub is, right? Or did they always know where the sub was?
No, the exact, that's what Cary Elwes is saying. He's the only, I'm the only one who know. I'm doing a very believable American accent, and I can tell you as an American, that I'm the only one who knows where the submarine is. But I think the idea is much like the Titanic, where some debris would float up to the surface, but currents, and it wouldn't necessarily...
Lon, I have the perfect idea for the final stunt. It's the Titanic sub that Tom Cruise gets on.
He's got a rescue.
He gets on the one with a little game controller to control it.
Yeah.
And he's in this...
He's got to pilot them to safety.
Pilot them with one tiny window up front.
But it's the same, like they it took them a long time. They didn't figure out where the Titanic was until like the 80s, I think, or the 70s. Even though like they knew generally, it's like hard to pinpoint because of currents and wave patterns and whatever, the exact underwater location.
Look, don't think too hard about this. It's all Ethan's got to jump off the thing to save the world. And that's your honest trailer commentary for Mission Impossible,
folks. Listen, sometimes you got to jump off the cliff to save the world.
Next week's a great one. Next week is really, I would say, unexpected. It's Halloween themed. A bit of a larger. It's not a film, it's a series.
Yeah, I think long-running series are not necessarily a thing people expect us to do because it's so much work.
Yeah, but Papow, we've got something fun coming for you next week. And I'd give you a clue, but it's standing right behind me, isn't it?
It's going to be a little summer. Summer's in the wintertime.
Exactly.
There you go.
That's your clue for next week. Thanks so much for watching. Check everything else out. Bye-bye.